My lords, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back once again to Transport Fever 2 as we continue on with the Japanese theme playthrough on easy mode. Now I've had a little comment on, I believe it was episode number 4's video, about me incorrectly calling this building right in front of us here in Uejima a temple. Now in fact it is a castle, not a temple, so I appreciate the correction there. I always enjoy learning new things, and I think what I'm going to do actually, out of just my own personal curiosity, is maybe do a bit of research on this temple. I have to call it a temple again. I've just told you it's not a temple. I'm going to research the castle and just find out a bit about its history and what it was all about, who lived there, what it was used for, and so on and so forth. So thank you for that. I wanted to put that on the record. Appreciate the correction. There you go, it's Uejima Castle, not Temple. Now, in the last episode, we continued expanding our passenger network with the ultimate goal of heading to Yamatahama. We haven't got there yet, and today we're going to take a little break from that, and instead we're going to focus on two of the towns that we've recently connected into, which were SEIYO and MIMA. Now I've also gone ahead between episodes and upgraded the locomotives. If you remember, we did unlock the new locomotive at the end. I can't remember the class, but it was ever so slightly faster than our existing locos. Not in terms of its top speed, but in terms of its acceleration. It had more power and attractive effort. So the freight lines, well, all but one of the freight lines, I should correct myself right there, have had the new locomotive installed on their lines and the old one replaced. The passenger lines, as we can see there, one heading into Uejima in the background, they are still using the slightly older locomotive, and we'll upgrade them in time, but for now it's not an overriding priority. Let's bring up the user interface. We are into 1966, and this is just giving away what we're doing today. I've made a little start off camera, and we'll head over there in a moment to address the warning that's just popped up. Yes, we're in 1866. We have around about 1 million. Cash flow still positive, although not the best, although I think that's a temporary dip. And overall, we tend to make around 1 to 1.5 million. And now we've gone negative, so even better. There we go, back to positive, although only just. Yes, let's head to MIMA. Now, if you remember in the last episode as well, the line between MIMA and SEIYO, it didn't have much passenger generation. As we can see, the train has just left with just one person on board. Now, what we're going to do to try and remedy that is start supplying MIMA with some of the food that the town requires, and we're going to do the same in SEIYO as well. Now, as I alluded to, I have made a start. We've got one half the infrastructure done up here by the farm. We have a pickup truck station here. We've put in this road here across, so they have a more direct line into the food production plant. And we're just going to carry on with this, and then we're going to set up the line to bring the food down into here, convert it, like the ingredients, the wheat, the grain, whatever you want to determine that is, but the raw materials brought into here, and then the finished article will be dropped into MIMA, and the trucks will then head back out and do the same thing all over again. We are using road vehicles for this because it's a short distance, so road vehicles are perfectly viable for this, and we'll probably do the same in SEIYO as well, although the industries are a little further away in that area, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem. So let's crack on and pick up where I left off between episodes. So we have our station here just outside the food production plant, as we can see. Just turn off the expenditure numbers there, and what I'm going to do first of all is just expand the platform size here like that, add in the second street access of course, and then get it connected to our road network. So simple connection there, likewise just there as well, and there we go. That's exactly what we need, nice and simple. Now we need a drop off point for the finished article over here of course. So let's get our truck unload stop. Where is the food required? Of course, it's in the most awkward position possible, way out here. But we'll put the unload point there. And I think what we'll also do is we'll build them a road from here, where we've got the empty space, to this road down here. So we'll do that for them. So let's get a street road here. Now, what's this going to look like in terms of the gradient coming down? We don't want it to be too steep. Well, it's that steep, it's going to want to give us a bridge, but I'd rather go for the embankment, I think. I think that looks a little better, maybe. Yeah, overall, I think that's the better option, just decreasing it a little bit there. So we'll construct that for them, and then the vehicles should be inclined to come down here as they head back towards the farm. Okay, so that's all taken care of. We do have a road depot for MIMA, and we'll just use that one for our trucks on this good delivery line. So let's get the line set up. So we are coming from the farm up here, and we want this to be this colour, and then you're heading into the food production plant to the drop-off point. Okay, you're not going back the way I wanted you to. That's because the AI have put in yet another road just after we completed ours. And what we are going to do is put a waypoint down here just to make sure they do come this way down. That way might be a little bit quicker, but we have the two interactions here and here, which I'd like to avoid if we can. Before we do that, however, let's just name this line. And this will be food production. And this is for MIMA. Right, over at the farms, we want you to be fully loaded with a maximum infinite wait time. You are only loading the wheat. Oh, there you go. It's grain. Now you know. At the food plant, you can load whatever you like in terms of how much they have. I don't really care. But you're unloading the grain and you are loading the food. And then when you get to Shiebetsu Street, you are just unloading the food, and then you're heading all the way back to the farm. Okay, wonderful. So let's get a waypoint over here, shall we? What waypoint do we want to use? What would fit in? I think we'll just have a crossing one just there. And then we'll include that. There we go. Now there's none of the overlap. There's no overlap here. And because of the bridge, they don't cross over here either. The only thing we do want to do is make sure they're coming the right way up here. So after waypoint number 5, come via that waypoint, and then everything is pretty much perfect. Okay, so now we can go ahead and purchase some vehicles. So we want the Asian horse-drawn carriage, of course. That's the only cargo road vehicle that we have available anyway. I think we're going to need quite a few of these. Could we get 25? Yes. In fact, I'd even say let's double that to 50. Just so we have a constant trickle of food being brought into MIMA. We'll colour them orange, the same as the line. And assign them. There we go. Perfect. So this should stimulate a little bit of town growth. The more residents we have, of course, the more people will want to use our lines. At least that's the theory, and it should work. If nothing else, it's at least going to generate as an extra source of income, this whole production line, so it's a win regardless. Anyway, let's head over to our next destination, which is here in SEIYO, and we're going to be doing the same sort of thing. Now we have a farm here, a food production plant here, and obviously the town itself here. Now, arguably, we could use, eventually anyway, a small rail service for this, but I think to start off, we will just go ahead and use road vehicles. So let's get the infrastructure in position if we can afford it. We only need one pickup point this time, but we want the full 30-meter length. Now I'm going to put it over here. I know it means our vehicles have a little bit further to travel, but I don't want to plop it over the fields that the map author has created for us. So We'll use the space available and we'll pop it, like I said, over here, just there. Let's just give it a second street access point like that before connecting it in with country roads. One there and there. Now this is actually being called a Canmar West. I think, well, yeah, why not? We'll call this a Canmar Farms, and then we'll also call this a Canmar Farms. As usual, that's just so in the line overview you know exactly what station is doing what and what it's responsible for. We want another station over here, of course. Buildings. Right, where should we put this? Well, there's a nice bit of space, and it's not interfering with anything that the mod map author has created for us. Street access there once again. The quick and easy connection in like so. And this will be SEIYO food production plant. We will need to rename the industry as well, as we can see. There we go, SEIYO food production plant. Last of all, we need the drop-off point. So there's our truck unload, and the industries or the commercial building, the commercial sector is a lot better placed in SEIYO, and that's where we're going to have that, and ideally the trucks would come this way, but we'll see what happens when we set the line up. So once again, new line, we're coming from here, and we'll do this as we go this time. So fully loaded, and you are loading the grain, same colour. Canmar Farms over to the SEIYO food production plant. Load whatever you can, and you are loading the food, unloading the grain, and then last of all you come in here and you are doing what I wanted you to automatically, so that's good to see. That's not looping about there, although I've got to assume this one will be. Indeed it is. So we're going to need a waypoint at this access point here, and I just pointed at the screen like an idiot. But yes, we need an access point, a waypoint here, and that way we can tell our trucks we want them to come out and down that way. Before we do that, let's just name this one, and this was food production for SEIYO. Wonderful. Now let's get that waypoint we were talking about. Now we're quite close to the woods, so let's have the deer waypoint. There we go. Wonderful. Everything is working as I'd hoped it would. So now what we want to do is purchase the vehicles. We have a depot over here. It's quite a distance, but that's fine. We can't afford the 50 this time, but we can afford the 25. So we'll stick with 25 for now. Give them the same colour and set them on the way. Okay, so now we should have, yep, we have our grain production being triggered up here, which is good to see. Hopefully we'll see the same in MIMA. Yes, indeed. The trucks are just making their first pickups, as we can see. There's our first truck with a full load on its way to the food production plant. And I think what we'll do, we'll just run again at 4 times acceleration, just to let things get up to speed and get settled in. And it will also eat away some of these early era years that we are stuck in at the minute, where we have very, very poor and limited choice in terms of our vehicles and what their capabilities are. So with that set up, we should start to see growth in both of these towns. As I alluded to earlier, that should have a knock-on effect on this line, and we should see more passenger generation. Likewise, we should see more passenger generation for this line. Although, to be fair, this line is doing pretty well. It's profitable every year, which is the main thing, of course. So not too concerned about getting more passengers on there, although I'm never going to turn them away. It really is the one over to SEIYO that we're interested in beefing up as much as we can. As we can see, we've only got 5 people on the train on this journey. How many do we have waiting over here? None. Yeah, so that's the problem we've got with this line. We'll see what effect this has. Our SEIYO road vehicles are making the long way over to Akanmar Farms. We definitely want to get some more road vehicles on this line when we can, just because of the distance. The more vehicles we have, of course, the less time we have between deliveries arriving, or if you prefer, the higher frequency and rate of the line, and that is going to give us more and more income. This one, in fact, we could double those as well looking at it, but I think they're going to be in a lot stronger position than their counterparts over in SEIYO, just because it's far shorter distance for their entire route. So the first one is coming through now, although it doesn't have anything on board. This one does, as we can see, 2 units of food. Click that one, there we go, that's got nothing. That's got 4. So it's a bit hit and miss at the moment, but that should balance out once the trucks space themselves out a little better. And we'll see what sort of income we get when we have our first food delivery. And here's the one what had the first units of food on board. Here we go, 3,000. So yeah, that should all be nice and profitable. I mean, look at that, we're making 8,000 per food delivery there, so that's a nice little profitable venture right there. And in fact, I dare say this line is going to be profitable already. And if I click the right thing, we can check that. Oh, not quite, although it is creeping up, as we can see. In fact, let's just have a look at all of our lines at once. Yes, we've jumped into profitability on this one now. 14,000, 15,000 in climbing. Where are we now? 42,000. Yeah, that's gonna skyrocket nicely. This one, it's gonna take a bit of a while, but as we can see right here, right now, not the song, of course, we have got our first raw materials being collected in the form of grain. 32, 36, and that's only going to continue to rise, so that's going to be nice and profitable as well, one should hope, although we don't have as many vehicles on this one. Although looking at it now, I think we could afford just about to double them up. Ooh, not quite, although I don't think we're far off. There we go, now we can. These ones are spacing themselves out really nicely, but I will have more on this line as well, just to get a little faster throughput and less waiting around between deliveries and therefore income. Okay, so we can leave those to bed themselves in now. We've already had a bit of growth here, 38 residents just from the first deliveries of the food. Don't know if that's a result of that, but we do have somebody waiting for the train over to SEIYO, and we're looking at SEIYO. Okay, so all of the vehicles have made their first up and they're on the way down to the food production plant. We've got 2 waiting at the station, which is not what we want. We want a lot more than that. And how many do we have on board? 0, which is the worst. As we can see here with our little convoy, our new vehicles are on the way. This road shape here makes me rather uncomfortable, so I'm going to delete that bit there. And I'm even going to delete that there. If you know, you know. What do we have here? The Russo Bolt, which I believe is a passenger car. So let's go to one of our more productive lines and see if that's worth investing in. Let's have a look. So at the minute we are using the Nicholas, 25 miles per hour with a capacity of 13. The Russo Bolt has a top speed of 37 miles an hour, so a big increase there, although slightly reduced capacity, as we can see, with only 11. What's the cost? An extra 12,000 per year. Do we want to go for the increased speed on that? what is the top speed of this train, the Type 1? 34. So we can't even utilise the top speed, but we're only 3 miles per hour off the top speed of the carriage, rather than being held back a grand total of 9 miles per hour. So really, you would say we'd be better off with that if we can afford to drop the capacity. Now on this line we could, because the trains are seldom if ever full. So let's do it on this line. Now we want these coloured pink, of course, so let's select that here. There we go. That's a very squat looking train with these passenger wagons. 1.357 million, so we cannot afford to do it right now, although I dare say in the next couple of seconds we will, although we've just lost money. So we'll come back to that, I think. Now, I did say at the start of the episode that one of our freight lines is using the old Class 1 locomotive, and I do believe it's this one here. No, you have the GV. Is it the food freight? No, you also have the GV. Never mind, I thought I hadn't upgraded one of them. Clearly I have. And these are the only 3 freight lines. 3 freight lines. That was a bit of a tongue twister that we have on the map right now, so I must have updated them. I just completely forgot about it. Look at the traffic here, that's not getting any better. And it looks like it's being caused by this junction here. Is there anything we can do about that? I don't think so. Oh, what we might be able to do, if we can afford it, is get rid of that. And, basically I want to turn this into one big junction, but it looks like I'm not going to be able to afford it. If I get rid of that, I should be able to do it now. Should just about be able to squeeze it in. Let's see. So if you come in there, like that, and then can you... Yes, we can afford that. And then go in from there. I wonder if that will make it any better. We shall see. It's a very busy junction with all sorts of lines intermingling here. Passenger lines, delivery lines, and all the lot. But yes, we'll see if that makes it any better. Now it seems to be, because it looks like most of the vehicles head straight on rather than turning, so they don't have the slowdown. We might see these having to wait a little bit. What do we have here? Another new locomotive, the Russian Class B. 31 miles per hour. Didn't mean to pause it. Let's have a look at that one, shall we? So at the moment we have GV. So this one is slower, but it has more tractive effort and 50 extra kilowatts of power. Let's just have a quick look. Would that be worthwhile doing? It gets up to its top speed faster, and in fact we're limited to 31 anyway. I think that would be a worthwhile investment, and I think we could afford to do our freight line straight away. A Class B, oh, just lost a bit of money, so we can't afford it right now, although we're not too far off. Just 15 or so thousand. There we go. Let's have a look at those new locomotives, shall we? We did that on... You're not one of them, I think it was our stone line. Let's find one of our stone freight trains. This should be one of them right here. Yes, it is. Let's have a look at this loco. We're starting to have that... That was a bit of a bump right there. Yes, they start to look more like a proper steam engine, if that makes any sort of sense, although they still have the wide funnel of the very early eras. Yes, there we go. That's the Class B. B18. So the extra power from those is going to be really nice, especially when they're hauling the full load and wanting to get up to their top speed. We could probably also do this one here, as you only have one one train on the line. So we should be able to afford to do him. Oh, not quite. Not quite. That's unfortunate. Although, again, we're not a million miles away. There we go. And then it's just the food delivery trains that will need updating at some point as well. But we can come back to those. How's the traffic situation over here? Okay, that's just because people are turning off to the left. I think it's improved a little. Might just have to give it time and have a proper look at that. But for now, that's fine. Let's check our new good delivery lines over in MIMA and SEIYO. So these are spacing out nicely. We could definitely do some more on this line. What's the profitability like on this line? If we click the right thing, we'll find out. Yeah, that's going to be a nice little money earner for us, I foresee. And we definitely want to increase the amount of vehicles we have on there to plug this gap between our first lead vehicle and our trailing vehicle here. I think another, I'd say maybe 10 should plug that gap quite nicely. What about over here in SEIYO? Where's our gap? Let's see, so there's our lead vehicle just here. There's our chase vehicle. I think over here we're going to need quite a few more. Maybe as much as 25 more on that line. But what's the profitability like? Yep, once again it's going to be a nice little money earner right there. Has it had any effect on this? Well, I've never seen that many people waiting for this passenger service, so I dare say it has. Where is the train? She's on her way back. Only got one from MIMA, which is a little disappointing. I'd like to see more being popped in, and still nothing waiting. However, if they're all going to zoom in Marchy, that's fine because we're still making money on that run anyway, so it's all money in the bank at the end of the day. It would just be nice to see some usage on the line over to SEIYO. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we'll end it here for today. Just a quick episode just to get these plugged in and hopefully see some uptake on our passenger generation down here, although as of yet it's not really had much of an impact, unfortunately, but I think give it time and we should be okay. So what do we want to have a little trek on today? I'm not really sure. Maybe one of the new road vehicles. Yeah, we'll go on a horse and cart, and I think I will keep it at 3 times acceleration or 4 times acceleration for the outro ride because they are very, very slow. I think, yeah, 11 miles per hour. Watching that at 1 times speed might be a little bit dull. If you disagree, let me know, and then in future we can stick to 1 times speed for the outros. But I think while the vehicles are severely hampered by their speed, it's a little more enjoyable at a faster pace. Yes, hope you enjoyed the episode. A bit of a change from the previous few where we were laying train lines everywhere. It's nice to go back to sorting out the freight side of things. Obviously that's your big money earner primarily on this game, so you don't want to be neglecting it. Easy mode, it's less important of course, but still it's good practice. So all that means me to say is, as always ladies and gentlemen, you take very good care of yourselves. It's ta-ta for now.